The melody seems to call to something deep within you, something that recognizes the sound of dreams being transformed into reality. As you round a gentle bend in the path, the music grows clearer, more defined, and you realize it's coming from the old stone bridge that arches gracefully over the flowing water ahead. The bridge itself seems to glow in the amber light, its weathered stones telling stories of generations who have crossed these waters in pursuit of their own dreams and destinies. There, standing at the center of the bridge with her violin raised to her shoulder, is a woman whose presence immediately captures your attention. Her name is Erica, though you don't know this yet. What you do know, in that instant way that sometimes happens when you meet someone truly remarkable, is that she radiates the kind of quiet confidence that comes from having transformed struggle into triumph, dreams into empire. Erica's bow moves across the strings with the fluid grace of someone who has found perfect harmony between passion and prosperity, between art and abundance. Her eyes are closed as she plays, completely absorbed in the music that flows from her instrument like liquid gold. The setting sun catches the blonde highlights in her hair, and there's something about her entire presence that suggests she has discovered secrets about creativity and wealth that most people spend their entire lives seeking. As the final notes of her current piece fade into the evening air, Erica opens her eyes and looks directly at you, as if she has been expecting your arrival all along. Her smile is warm and knowing, the kind of expression that immediately puts you at ease while simultaneously suggesting that this encounter is about to change something fundamental in your understanding of what's possible. "You have the look of someone on a journey," she says, her voice carrying the gentle authority of someone who has traveled far and learned much along the way. "I was just thinking about my own path, about how I went from playing on street corners with barely enough coins in my case to pay for dinner, to building something that now touches millions of lives around the world." She gestures toward the path that continues beyond the bridge, where the evening light creates pools of gold among the trees. "Would you like to walk with me? I have a feeling that what I've learned about turning creativity into abundance might be exactly what you need to hear tonight." As you nod and step forward to join her, you can feel something shifting in your awareness, as if this moment marks the beginning of a profound understanding about the relationship between artistic expression and financial freedom. The river continues to flow beneath your feet, its constant movement a perfect metaphor for the abundance that can flow into your life when you align passion with purpose, creativity with prosperity. As you and Erica begin walking together along the riverside path, she carefully places her violin into its well-worn case, her movements deliberate and reverent. "This instrument," she says, running her fingers along the case's edge, "has been with me through every stage of my journey. It's witnessed my darkest moments of doubt and my brightest celebrations of success. But when I first started playing on the streets, I never imagined that the corner where I stood each day would become the foundation of a $30 million empire." The path ahead winds through a grove of willows whose trailing branches create natural curtains of green, and as you walk beneath them, Erica's story begins to unfold like the gentle evening breeze that carries the scent of jasmine and possibility. "I want you to picture a busy intersection in the heart of the city," she continues, her voice taking on the rhythm of someone who has told this story many times, but never without feeling its full emotional weight. Morning commuters rushing past, their minds focused on their own destinations, their own dreams and obligations. And there I was, 22 years old, with barely enough money to pay rent on my tiny studio apartment, but absolutely certain that music was my calling. You find yourself naturally synchronizing your pace with hers, and as you do, you begin to notice how the sound of your footsteps creates its own rhythm, like a walking meditation that opens your mind to new possibilities. The first few weeks were brutal, Erica admits, her honesty refreshing and encouraging. Some days I would stand there for hours and barely collect enough coins to buy a sandwich. People would walk past without even acknowledging that I existed, lost in their own worlds, their own struggles and aspirations. The willows give way to an open stretch of path where the river widens into a peaceful pool, its surface reflecting the deepening colors of the sunset sky. Here, Erica pauses and looks out over the water, her expression thoughtful. But here's what I discovered during those early days that changed everything for me, and what I want you to really absorb as we walk together tonight. Every person who walked past my corner without stopping was actually teaching me something invaluable about value creation and abundance mindset. As she speaks, you find yourself naturally relaxing into a state of deeper listening, your conscious mind becoming more receptive to the layers of wisdom embedded in her words. You see, I began to realize that abundance isn't about convincing people to give you what you want. It's about becoming so aligned with your authentic gifts that the right people are naturally drawn to what you offer. It's about understanding that wealth flows most easily when you're genuinely serving others through your unique talents. A family of ducks glides across the still water, their movement creating gentle ripples that spread outward in perfect circles, and Erica uses this moment to deepen her teaching. "Watch how those ripples move," she says, pointing toward the water. Each duck's movement creates an effect that touches every part of the pool, just like how every authentic creative act sends ripples of value into the world that eventually return to you multiplied. As you begin to understand this principle, you find yourself naturally attracted to opportunities that align with your deepest talents and desires. The path curves gently to the left, following the contours of the riverbank, and as you continue walking, Erica's story gains momentum. The breakthrough came on a Thursday morning in October. I remember it precisely because it was the day I stopped thinking like someone who was trying to get something from the world and started thinking like someone who had something valuable to give to the world. I had been playing the same repertoire for weeks, classical pieces that I loved, but that didn't really represent who I was as an artist. A gentle breeze stirs the leaves overhead, creating a natural symphony that seems to underscore the importance of what she's sharing. That morning, I made a decision that changed everything. Instead of playing what I thought people wanted to hear, I started playing music that came directly from my heart, pieces that I had written myself during the long, quiet evenings in my apartment. I played songs that told the story of my struggles, my hopes, my vision of a world where creativity and abundance dance together in perfect harmony. You can feel your breathing becoming deeper and more relaxed as Erica's words paint vivid pictures in your mind, images of transformation and possibility that feel both inspiring and achievable. The response was immediate and profound, she continues, her voice carrying the wonder of someone who still marvels at how quickly life can change when you align with your authentic truth. Within an hour, I had collected more money than I usually made in an entire day. But more importantly, people started stopping to listen, really listen, to what I was creating. The river beside you begins to narrow again, its flow becoming more focused and purposeful, mirroring the way Erica's career began to gain direction and momentum. An older gentleman in a beautifully tailored coat stopped and listened to 3 complete songs. When I finished, he approached me and said something that I will never forget. Young woman, you have a gift that the world needs. Don't you dare keep it hidden on this corner forever. He placed a $50 bill in my case and handed me his business card. He owned a small recording studio across town. As the two of you pass under a charming stone archway covered in climbing roses, their evening fragrance sweet and intoxicating, Erica pauses to let the full significance of that moment settle into your awareness. This is where I want you to really pay attention to what your subconscious mind is learning tonight, she says, her words taking on a hypnotic quality that seems to bypass your analytical mind and speak directly to your deeper wisdom. Success rarely looks like what we expect it to look like. It doesn't usually arrive as a dramatic transformation or a sudden windfall. Instead, it comes as a series of aligned actions, authentic expressions, and genuine connections that build upon each other, like these stones building this beautiful archway. You find yourself naturally absorbing this truth, feeling it settle into your bones like a fundamental law of prosperity that has always been waiting for you to discover it. The studio owner, whose name was Frederick, became my first real mentor in the business side of creativity. He taught me that being an artist and being an entrepreneur weren't contradictory paths. They were complementary aspects of the same journey toward creative and financial freedom. The archway opens onto a wider section of the path where several benches are positioned to take advantage of the river view. And though you don't stop walking, you notice how this space seems designed for contemplation and reflection. Frederick offered to let me use his studio during off hours in exchange for helping him with basic maintenance and administrative tasks. It was my first real glimpse into how abundance multiplies when you create genuine value for others while pursuing your own dreams. A soft evening mist begins to rise from the water, creating an almost magical atmosphere that seems to enhance your receptivity to the deeper teachings embedded in Erica's story. I spent the next 6 months learning everything I could about recording technology, sound engineering, and music production. During the day, I continued playing on my corner, but now I was doing it with a completely different energy and intention. I wasn't there because I was desperate for money. I was there because I was building a business, developing my craft, and connecting with the audience that would eventually support my larger vision. As you walk through the gentle mist, your awareness seems to expand, and you begin to understand that this story isn't just about Erica's journey. It's about the universal principles of abundance that apply to anyone who is willing to align their authentic gifts with genuine service to others. Your conscious mind might be wondering how this applies to your own situation, Erica says, her insight into your thoughts both surprising and comforting. But your deeper wisdom already knows that the same principles that transformed my corner performances into a global enterprise are working in your life right now, creating opportunities and connections that will become clear as you continue to trust your authentic creative impulses. The mist begins to clear as you emerge from this particularly magical stretch of the path, revealing that the river has widened into a small lake dotted with lily pads and reflecting the first stars of the evening. By the end of those 6 months, I had recorded my first professional demo, built a small but dedicated following of people who came specifically to hear my original compositions, and most importantly, I had learned to see myself not as a struggling musician, but as a creative entrepreneur who was just getting started on a journey toward unlimited artistic and financial possibilities. Erica's story has taken on a hypnotic rhythm that seems perfectly synchronized with your footsteps and the gentle lapping of water against the shore, creating a state of relaxed awareness where new ideas and possibilities can take root in your subconscious mind. as we continue our walk together, I want you to feel how naturally your own creative energy begins to align with abundance, she says, her words carrying the power of gentle command that feels more like permission than instruction. Just as this river flows effortlessly toward its destination, your talents and desires are naturally flowing toward the opportunities and resources that will allow them to flourish in ways that serve both your highest good and the good of everyone whose lives you touch. The path ahead opens into a meadow where wildflowers create a natural carpet of colors that seem to glow in the deepening twilight. And as you and Erica walk among them, she continues weaving the story of her transformation with the skill of a master storyteller. That first demo recording changed everything, but not in the way I initially expected, she begins, her voice carrying the wisdom of someone who has learned to find opportunity in every apparent setback. Frederick's studio was beautiful and professional, but when I listened to the finished recording, something felt missing. The sound was pristine, but it had lost some of the raw authenticity that people connected with during my street performances. A warm evening breeze carries the sweet scent of the wildflowers, and you find yourself naturally breathing more deeply, allowing Erica's words to penetrate not just your conscious understanding, but the deeper levels of your mind where lasting transformation takes place. This disappointment led to one of my most important discoveries about the relationship between creativity and abundance, she continues, her pace slowing slightly as she guides you toward a small wooden bridge that spans a gentle creek feeding into the main river. Sometimes the universe guides us away from what seems like the obvious path toward success, not to deny us our dreams, but to help us discover approaches that are more aligned with our authentic nature. The wooden planks of the bridge create a rhythmic sound under your feet, and Erica uses this natural percussion to emphasize her point. I realized that what made my street performances special wasn't just the music itself, but the intimate, unpolished environment where people could feel the genuine emotion behind each note. So instead of continuing to pursue access to expensive professional studios, I decided to create my own recording space in the garage of my apartment building. As you reach the center of the small bridge, Erica pauses and leans against the wooden railing, her silhouette framed by the star-filled sky that has emerged while you've been walking. This decision taught me one of the most valuable lessons about abundance. You don't need perfect conditions to begin creating value. You need creativity, persistence, and the willingness to work with what you have while moving steadily toward what you want. The creek below flows with the same steady persistence that Erica is describing, and you can feel this principle taking root in your own consciousness, becoming part of your fundamental understanding about how prosperity really works. I spent 3 weeks transforming that garage into a recording space that cost me less than $500, but captured the authentic sound and feeling that I had been seeking. I used moving blankets for acoustic treatment, borrowed equipment from Frederick when he wasn't using it, and learned to engineer my own sessions through countless hours of experimentation and online tutorials. As you resume walking across the bridge, Erica's story continues to unfold with the natural flow of someone who has integrated these experiences into deep wisdom. The process of building that studio taught me something that business schools spend entire semesters trying to explain. The most sustainable path to wealth isn't about having the best resources. It's about maximizing the potential of whatever resources you currently have access to. As you develop this mindset, you naturally begin to see opportunities where others see obstacles. The bridge leads to another section of the riverside path, this one lined with lanterns that someone has thoughtfully placed to illuminate the way for evening walkers. The soft light creates an atmosphere of warmth and possibility that seems to enhance your receptivity to the deeper layers of wisdom in Erica's teaching. My first garage recording session was magical in a way that the professional studio session had never been. I invited 3 of my most loyal street performance fans to come and be part of the experience, creating a live audience that brought the energy and authenticity I had been missing. You can almost hear the music she's describing, can feel the excitement and creative electricity that must have filled that improvised recording space. The resulting album, which I titled Corner Dreams, captured something that no amount of expensive equipment could have created. The sound of someone who was fully aligned with her authentic creative vision and completely committed to sharing that vision with the world, regardless of conventional limitations. A family of fireflies begins to dance among the lanterns, their natural light blending with the artificial illumination to create an enchanted atmosphere that seems to mirror the magic Erica found in her unconventional approach to music production. I made 500 copies of that album, designed the cover art myself using photos I had taken during my street performances, and sold every single copy within 2 months, mostly to people who had discovered my music during their daily commutes past my corner. The financial significance of this achievement isn't lost on you, and Erica notices your increased attention. 500 albums at $15 each meant $7,500 in revenue, minus about $2,000 in production costs. For someone who had been surviving on street performance tips, this felt like a fortune. But more importantly, it proved that there was a real market for authentic, independently produced music that connected with people's hearts rather than following industry trends. As you continue walking among the lanterns, their warm light creating pools of illumination that seem to represent moments of clarity and insight, Erica's story takes on an increasingly hypnotic quality. Your subconscious mind is absorbing these principles even as we walk, she says, her words carrying the gentle authority of someone who understands how transformation really works. You're learning that abundance flows most naturally when you combine authentic creative expression with practical business action, when you work with what you have while steadily building toward what you envision. The path ahead curves gently to the right, following the natural contours of the landscape. And as you round this bend, you discover that you're approaching a small outdoor amphitheater carved naturally into the hillside beside the river. This is where I want to tell you about the moment I realized that my garage studio wasn't just a stepping stone to something bigger. It was actually the foundation of an entirely new approach to music creation and distribution that would eventually scale into something much larger than I had ever imagined. The amphitheater is empty, except for a few couples scattered among the stone seats, enjoying the peaceful evening atmosphere, and their presence adds to the sense that you're part of a larger community of people seeking beauty, inspiration, and connection. 6 months after releasing Corner Dreams, I had sold nearly 2,000 copies and built an email list of over 500 people who wanted to be notified whenever I released new music. More importantly, I had proven to myself that creativity and entrepreneurship weren't separate endeavors. They were different aspects of the same commitment to bringing authentic value into the world. A gentle evening breeze carries the sound of distant laughter and conversation from the amphitheater, reminding you that success is not just about individual achievement, but about creating experiences that connect people with beauty, joy, and inspiration. The garage studio also became a gathering place for other independent musicians who were seeking alternatives to the traditional music industry. We started collaborating on recordings, sharing equipment and expertise, and building a community of artists who supported each other's creative and financial success. As you walk past the amphitheater, you can feel the vibration of all the music and stories that have been shared in this space, and Erica's narrative seems to blend with this larger symphony of human creativity and aspiration. This community aspect turned out to be crucial to everything that came next, she continues, her voice taking on the tone of someone revealing a particularly important secret. Abundance multiplies when it's shared, when individual success becomes a foundation for lifting others up as well. As you internalize this principle, you begin to attract collaborative opportunities that accelerate your own growth while contributing to the success of others. The path beyond the amphitheater leads into a grove of ancient oak trees whose massive canopies create a natural cathedral overhead, and walking among these giants feels like stepping into a sacred space where profound truths can be spoken and received. By the end of my first year in the garage studio, I had released 3 albums, generated over $30,000 in direct sales revenue, and established myself as a leader in what was becoming a movement toward independent, artist-controlled music creation and distribution. The financial progression of Erica's story is impressive, but what strikes you most powerfully is the way she has integrated creative fulfillment with business success, never sacrificing authenticity for profit or artistic vision for commercial viability. Your deeper mind is recognizing that these same principles apply to whatever creative or entrepreneurial endeavor calls to your heart, Erica observes, her insight into your inner process both surprising and reassuring. The specific industry or medium doesn't matter. What matters is the commitment to authentic expression, practical action, and service to others. As you emerge from the oak grove, the river comes back into view, now reflecting the full constellation of stars that have appeared while you've been walking and listening. That garage studio taught me that success isn't about waiting for perfect conditions or external validation. It's about beginning where you are, with what you have, and allowing your commitment to excellence and authenticity to create the conditions you need for unlimited creative and financial expansion. The starlight creates a shimmering pathway across the water as you and Erica continue your evening walk, and the peaceful rhythm of your footsteps seems to naturally attune your mind to receive the next chapter of her remarkable journey. The transition from local success to global reach happened in a way that I never could have planned or predicted, she begins, her voice carrying the wonder of someone who has experienced the exponential power of aligned action. It started with a simple decision to share my music beyond the physical boundaries of my corner and my garage studio. The path ahead leads through a sculpture garden where artistic creations catch and reflect the moonlight, creating an environment that feels perfectly suited to a story about creative expansion and abundance. This was 2018, and social media platforms were becoming powerful tools for independent artists, but I had been resistant to using them. I was worried about losing the authentic, personal connection that made my street performances and garage recordings so special. I thought that digital distribution would somehow diminish the intimacy and emotional impact of my music. A sculpture of intertwining spirals draws your attention, its form suggesting infinite growth and expansion, and Erica notices your interest. That sculpture reminds me of how I felt when I finally understood that technology doesn't have to separate us from authentic connection. It can amplify and multiply genuine artistic expression in ways that serve both the artist and the audience. As you absorb this understanding, you find yourself naturally drawn to tools and platforms that enhance rather than compromise your authentic gifts. The garden path winds among various artistic installations, each one seeming to represent a different aspect of creative evolution and expansion. And you can feel your consciousness expanding to embrace new possibilities for sharing your own talents with a broader audience. The catalyst for my digital breakthrough came from Maria, a young filmmaker who had been attending my garage studio sessions and documenting the collaborative process we had developed with other independent musicians. She approached me with an idea that would change everything. What if we created a weekly video series that showed not just the finished music, but the entire creative process from initial inspiration to final recording? The concept immediately resonates with you, representing the perfect fusion of authenticity and accessibility that seems to characterize all of Erica's most successful innovations. Maria understood something that I was just beginning to recognize. People don't just want to consume art. They want to understand and participate in the creative process. They want to feel connected to the artist's journey, to learn from their struggles and victories, and to be inspired by witnessing someone transform dreams into reality through persistent, authentic action. A fountain at the center of the sculpture garden creates a gentle sound that blends with the river's flow. And as you pause beside it, Erica's story takes on an increasingly hypnotic quality that seems to speak directly to your subconscious understanding of how influence and abundance really work. We started with a simple format. Every Tuesday evening, I would live stream from my garage studio, sharing whatever song I was working on that week, talking about the inspiration behind it, and inviting viewers to ask questions and share their own creative projects. The first episode had exactly 7 viewers, including Maria and my mother. The humble beginning of what would become a global phenomenon seems to emphasize one of the most important principles you're learning. Massive success grows from consistent, authentic action rather than dramatic gestures or perfect timing. But something magical happened during that first live stream, Erica continues, her eyes reflecting the starlight as she remembers the moment when everything changed. 3 of those 7 viewers were musicians from other countries who had been searching for exactly this kind of authentic, collaborative, creative community. By the end of the session, we had planned an international collaboration that would involve musicians from Sweden, Brazil, and Japan. As you resume walking through the sculpture garden, each artistic creation seems to represent a different stage of creative expansion, from simple forms to increasingly complex and ambitious expressions. That collaboration became the foundation for what I later called the Global Garage Sessions, a weekly series where independent musicians from around the world would contribute to collaborative compositions that celebrated both individual creativity and collective artistic vision. The business implications of this innovation are becoming clear to you, and Erica recognizes your growing understanding. Each episode generated revenue through multiple streams: direct music sales, online courses, teaching the collaboration techniques we were developing, and sponsorships from music equipment companies who wanted to reach our highly engaged, creative audience. But more importantly, it established me as a thought leader in the intersection of technology, creativity, and entrepreneurship. The sculpture garden gives way to an elegant promenade lined with historic lampposts that create a more formal, established atmosphere, suggesting the progression from experimental innovation to recognized expertise. Within 6 months, our weekly viewership had grown to over 50,000 people, and I was receiving collaboration requests from Grammy-winning artists who wanted to be part of what was becoming a movement toward more democratic, inclusive music creation. You can feel the exponential nature of authentic success, as Erica describes it, the way genuine value creation attracts more opportunities, resources, and collaborations in an ever-expanding spiral of abundance. Your subconscious mind is integrating these patterns, Erica observes, her words carrying the gentle authority of hypnotic suggestion. You're learning that when you consistently share your authentic gifts with genuine intention to serve others, you naturally attract the people, opportunities, and resources that allow your impact and income to expand beyond what your conscious mind currently considers possible. The promenade leads to a beautiful overlook where you can see the river winding through the landscape below, its path illuminated by moonlight and creating a visual metaphor for the way success flows naturally when it's aligned with authentic purpose. The platform I built through social media wasn't about building followers or likes. It was about creating genuine value for a global community of creative people who were hungry for authentic connection and practical inspiration. As this community grew, so did the opportunities for monetizing that value in ways that served everyone involved. A gentle evening breeze carries the scent of night-blooming flowers from gardens below the overlook, and this sensory richness seems to enhance your receptivity to the deeper teachings embedded in Erica's story. By the end of 2019, the global garage sessions had generated over $200,000 in direct revenue, but more importantly, it had established the foundation for everything that would come next. Online courses, international workshops, brand partnerships, and eventually, the acquisition offer that would value my entire creative enterprise at $30 million. The financial progression is impressive, but what strikes you most powerfully is the way each level of success has been built on the foundation of authentic value creation and genuine service to others. This is where I want you to really pay attention to what your deeper mind is learning, Erica says, her voice taking on the hypnotic rhythm that has been building throughout your walk together. Sustainable abundance flows from the intersection of authentic creative expression, consistent value creation, and the willingness to use technology and innovation to amplify your positive impact on others. As you stand together on the overlook, gazing out at the moonlit landscape below, you can feel these principles taking root in your consciousness, becoming part of your fundamental understanding about how creativity and prosperity dance together in perfect harmony. The social media phase of my journey taught me that scale doesn't have to come at the expense of authenticity, and that global reach can actually enhance rather than diminish the intimate connection between artist and audience. As you internalize this understanding, you begin to see digital platforms and technological tools as extensions of your creative vision rather than separate from it. The city lights twinkle in the distance, representing the vast network of human creativity and connection that technology makes possible. And Erica's story seems to bridge the gap between individual artistic expression and collective creative evolution. When you align authentic gifts with genuine service and consistent action, you create what I call magnetic abundance, a natural attraction that draws opportunities, collaborations, and resources toward you, without the need for aggressive marketing or inauthentic promotion. Your creative work becomes a beacon that naturally attracts the people and circumstances that support your highest vision for both artistic fulfillment and financial freedom. The overlook provides a perfect vantage point for transitioning into the next phase of Erica's journey, and as a shooting star streaks across the sky above, she continues her story with the timing of someone who has learned to recognize when the universe is aligning to support her vision. The expansion of my digital presence attracted attention from places I had never expected, she begins, her voice carrying a note of amazement that suggests this part of her story still feels somewhat magical to her. One of the most significant connections came through an email that arrived on a Wednesday morning in January 2020, just as I was beginning to plan the next evolution of the Global Garage Sessions. You find yourself naturally leaning into her narrative, your consciousness attuned to receive not just the details of her story, but the deeper patterns of abundance and opportunity that seem to characterize her entire journey. The email was from Henrik, the European representative for an innovative record label called Resonance Records, which specialized in supporting independent artists who had built their own platforms and communities. Instead of the traditional model where labels discover and develop artists, Resonance worked with musicians who had already proven their ability to create authentic value and attract dedicated audiences. A couple walks past on the promenade below, their quiet conversation and gentle laughter adding to the atmosphere of connection and possibility that seems to surround Erica's story. Henrik had been following the Global Garage Sessions for months, and what impressed him wasn't just the music or the size of the audience, but the depth of engagement and the international community we had built around collaborative creativity. He said that Resonance had been searching for an artist who embodied their vision of the future of music: authentic, collaborative, technologically savvy, and committed to empowering other artists. The business model Henrik described represents a fundamental shift in how creative industries can work when they prioritize mutual benefit over traditional power structures, and you can feel this principle expanding your own understanding of how abundance multiplies when it's shared rather than hoarded. Instead of offering a traditional record deal where the label would own my music and control my creative direction, Resonance proposed a partnership where they would provide resources, distribution networks, and industry expertise while I maintained ownership of my work and creative autonomy. As you begin walking again, leaving the overlook and following a path that descends gently toward a charming riverside village, Erica's story continues to unfold with the natural flow of someone who has learned to navigate opportunity with both wisdom and intuition. The negotiation process taught me invaluable lessons about valuing my work and advocating for my vision while remaining open to collaboration and mutual benefit. Henrik introduced me to their financial advisor, a remarkable woman named Catherine, who specialized in helping creative entrepreneurs understand and maximize the value they were creating. The village ahead glows with warm light from windows and street lamps, creating an atmosphere of prosperity and community that seems to mirror the collaborative approach Erica is describing. Catherine helped me recognize that what I had built wasn't just a music career. It was a creative enterprise with multiple revenue streams, intellectual property assets, and a global community that represented significant economic value. She taught me to think like a CEO while never losing sight of my identity as an artist and teacher. This integration of creative and business perspectives feels like one of the most important lessons you're receiving tonight, and Erica seems to sense your deepening understanding. Your subconscious mind is absorbing the truth that creativity and business acumen aren't opposing forces, she says, her words carrying the gentle power of hypnotic suggestion. When you align authentic artistic vision with strategic thinking and collaborative partnership, you create opportunities for abundance that serve your highest creative goals while generating substantial financial rewards. The path into the village leads past shops and cafes where people are enjoying evening meals and conversations, their relaxed contentment suggesting the kind of balanced life that becomes possible when creative work generates both personal fulfillment and financial security. The partnership with Resonance opened doors that I never could have opened alone, Erica continues, her gratitude evident in her voice. They had distribution relationships with streaming platforms, retail networks, and international markets that immediately expanded my reach by a factor of 10. A street musician playing acoustic guitar on a corner reminds you of where Erica's journey began, but his professional setup and the appreciative audience that has gathered suggest how much the landscape for independent artists has evolved. More importantly, Resonance introduced me to other artists in their network who became collaborators, mentors, and eventually close friends. I learned that success in creative industries isn't about competition. It's about building relationships with people who share your values and vision, and finding ways to support each other's growth and success. The financial impact of this partnership becomes clear as Erica shares specific numbers that demonstrate the power of aligned collaboration. Within the first year of our partnership, my annual revenue increased from $200,000 to over $800,000, but more significantly, I was able to reinvest that income into expanding my creative projects, hiring team members, and launching the educational initiatives that had been part of my vision from the beginning. As you walk through the heart of the village, passing a square where families are enjoying evening activities and local musicians are performing for appreciative audiences, you can feel the sense of community and mutual support that seems to characterize all of Erica's most successful ventures. The Resonance partnership also provided me with mentorship from senior executives who had decades of experience in the music industry, but who shared my commitment to artist empowerment and authentic creative expression. One of these mentors clearly made a particularly strong impression on Erica, and she pauses beside a fountain in the village square to share this part of her story. Jonas was Resonance's founder, a former major label executive who had left the traditional industry to create something more aligned with his values. He became my guide through the complexities of intellectual property, international licensing, and strategic planning, but he did it in a way that always honored my creative vision and entrepreneurial instincts. The fountain creates a gentle, rhythmic sound that seems to enhance the hypnotic quality of Erica's narrative, and you find your consciousness naturally expanding to embrace new possibilities for your own creative and financial evolution. Jonas taught me that sustainable success in creative industries requires what he called triple alignment. Alignment between your authentic creative vision, your business strategy, and your impact on others. When these three elements are working together, abundance flows naturally and opportunities multiply exponentially. A family with young children feeds ducks in the fountain while grandparents watch from nearby benches, creating a scene that suggests the multi-generational impact of work that integrates creativity, prosperity, and service to others. This principle of triple alignment became the foundation for everything that followed. Erica continues, her voice taking on the tone of someone sharing a fundamental truth about how abundance really works. As you internalize this understanding, you begin to naturally make decisions that honor your authentic creative gifts while building sustainable financial success and creating positive impact for others. The village square feels like a perfect setting for this revelation, surrounded as it is by evidence of community prosperity and creative expression working together in harmony. The partnership with Resonance also taught me about scalability, how to take something that works on a small scale and expand it without losing the authenticity and personal connection that made it special in the first place. This became crucial as we began planning the next phase of my creative enterprise. As you and Erica leave the village square and follow a path that winds up a gentle hill overlooking the river valley, the lights of the village create a warm glow behind you, suggesting the foundation of success that supports further expansion and exploration. Jonas introduced me to the concept of leverage points, specific places where small investments of time, energy, or resources can create disproportionately large positive outcomes. For me, one of the most powerful leverage points was the educational component of my work. The path up the hill is lined with lavender plants, whose evening fragrance creates a sensory backdrop that enhances your receptivity to the deeper teachings embedded in Erica's story. People weren't just interested in my music. They wanted to learn the collaborative techniques, the business strategies, and the technological approaches that had enabled my success. This insight led to the creation of what became the Creative Entrepreneurs Academy, an online educational platform that would eventually generate more revenue than my music sales. The concept of teaching as a path to abundance resonates deeply with you, and you can feel this understanding taking root in your consciousness as a fundamental principle of how expertise and influence multiply over time. Your deeper mind is recognizing that when you share your knowledge and experience generously, you create multiple streams of value that serve others, while generating sustainable income for yourself, Erica observes, her words carrying the gentle authority of someone who has proven these principles through direct experience. As you reach the top of the hill, a panoramic view of the river valley spreads out below you, the moonlight creating a silver pathway across the water that seems to represent the flow of abundance through aligned action and authentic service. The Academy launched 6 months after my partnership with Resonance began, and the response exceeded every projection we had made. Within the first quarter, we had enrolled over 3,000 students from 47 countries, generating nearly $500,000 in course sales, while creating a global community of creative entrepreneurs who supported each other's success. The success of the Academy represents another level of leverage and impact, demonstrating how expertise can be packaged and shared in ways that create value for large numbers of people while generating substantial revenue for the creator. But the most rewarding aspect wasn't the financial success. It was seeing how the principles and strategies I was teaching were transforming other people's creative careers and helping them build sustainable businesses around their authentic gifts. A bench positioned to take advantage of the hilltop view provides a natural resting place, and as you sit together, looking out over the peaceful valley, Erica's story continues to weave its hypnotic spell of possibility and empowerment. This experience taught me that true abundance isn't just about personal success. It's about creating systems and sharing knowledge that enable others to achieve their own creative and financial breakthroughs. As you absorb this understanding, you begin to see your own expertise and experience as valuable resources that can serve others while generating prosperity for yourself. The night air carries the sound of distant music from the village below, suggesting the ongoing cycle of creativity and community that Erica's work has helped to foster and expand. The combination of music sales, streaming revenue, academy enrollment, and consulting work with other artists and creative entrepreneurs meant that by the end of 2020, my annual income had exceeded $1.2 million. But more importantly, I had built a sustainable business model that aligned with my values and supported my long-term vision for creative and financial freedom. These numbers represent a dramatic transformation from the street corner beginnings of Erica's journey, but what strikes you most powerfully is how each stage of growth has been built on the foundation of authentic value creation and genuine service to others. The partnership with Resonance provided me with the industry credibility and distribution infrastructure I needed to scale my impact, while the Academy gave me a platform for sharing the knowledge and strategies that could help other creative entrepreneurs achieve similar success. As you sit together in comfortable silence for a moment, absorbing the view and the deeper implications of everything you've heard. You can feel these principles integrating into your own understanding of how creative work can evolve into sustainable enterprise. Your subconscious mind is already beginning to envision how these same principles might apply to your own creative gifts and entrepreneurial aspirations, Erica says softly, her words seeming to plant seeds of possibility that will continue to grow long after this evening's conversation has ended. The hilltop provides a perfect vantage point for understanding the broader scope of Erica's vision, and as she continues her story, the panoramic view below seems to mirror the expansive impact she has created through her work. The success of the Creative Entrepreneurs Academy revealed something that would become central to everything I built afterward. She begins, her voice carrying the excitement of someone who has discovered a fundamental truth about how influence and abundance multiply over time. Teaching wasn't just another revenue stream. It was the most powerful way to create lasting value while building a sustainable, scalable business model around my core expertise. A shooting star arcs across the sky above, its brief brilliance seeming to underscore the moments of insight that can illuminate entirely new possibilities for growth and impact. Within 18 months of launching the Academy, we had expanded from a single course to a comprehensive curriculum that covered every aspect of building a creative enterprise: artistic development, business strategy, technology integration, marketing, financial management, and collaborative partnerships. The scope of this expansion demonstrates the natural progression from individual expertise to systematic knowledge sharing, and you can feel this pattern taking root in your own consciousness as a model for how personal success can evolve into broader impact and influence. Each new course was developed in response to specific questions and challenges that Academy members were facing, which meant that everything we created was directly addressing real needs and providing practical solutions that people were willing to pay for. As you begin walking again, following a path that circles the hilltop and provides changing perspectives on the valley below, Erica's story continues to unfold with the natural rhythm of someone who has learned to balance expansion with sustainability. The Academy also became a laboratory for testing new approaches to creative education and community building. We developed innovative formats like collaborative workshops, where students from different countries worked together on real projects, mentorship programs that connected experienced creative entrepreneurs with newcomers, and mastermind groups that provided ongoing support and accountability. These educational innovations represent a sophisticated understanding of how learning and transformation really work, and you can sense the care and thoughtfulness that Erica brought to designing experiences that would genuinely serve her students' success. Your deeper mind is recognizing that when you create genuine value for others through teaching and mentorship, you naturally attract the resources and opportunities that support your own continued growth and evolution, Erica observes, her words carrying the hypnotic quality that has been building throughout your evening together. The path leads to a small observatory where an antique telescope is positioned to take advantage of the hilltop's clear view of the night sky, and this setting seems perfectly suited to discussing the broader vision that was guiding Erica's work. By 2021, the Academy had grown to include over 15,000 active students, but more importantly, it had become the foundation for a global network of creative entrepreneurs who were supporting each other's success and collaborating on projects that none of them could have accomplished alone. The network effects of this community represent one of the most powerful aspects of Erica's business model, demonstrating how authentic relationship building can create exponential value for everyone involved. We started tracking the success stories that were emerging from our community, and the results were extraordinary. Academy alumni had launched over 300 new creative businesses, generated more than $50 million in collective revenue, and created thousands of jobs for other artists and creative professionals. These impact metrics reveal the true scope of what Erica had created, not just a successful business, but a catalyst for widespread creative and economic empowerment. This data helped me understand that my role was evolving from individual artist and entrepreneur to something more like a creative ecosystem architect, someone who designs and maintains environments where creativity and prosperity can flourish on a large scale. A gentle breeze stirs the lavender plants around the observatory, their fragrance creating a sensory backdrop that enhances your receptivity to the deeper teachings embedded in Erica's story. The financial success of the Academy also provided me with the resources to experiment with new projects and partnerships that aligned with my vision of democratizing access to creative education and entrepreneurial support. One of these experiments clearly holds special significance for Erica, and she pauses beside the telescope to share this part of her story. We launched a scholarship program that provided free Academy access to creative entrepreneurs in developing countries, funded by a percentage of revenue from our premium courses and coaching programs. This initiative connected me with incredibly talented artists and innovators who brought fresh perspectives and expanded my understanding of how creativity and entrepreneurship intersect with different cultural and economic contexts. The global scope of this program demonstrates how abundance can be consciously directed toward creating positive impact while generating new insights and opportunities for further growth. Your subconscious mind is absorbing the principle that genuine prosperity flows most naturally when it includes and uplifts others, Erica says, her words seeming to plant seeds of understanding that will continue to develop long after this evening's conversation. As you internalize this truth, you begin to naturally make decisions that create value for yourself while contributing to the success and well-being of your broader community. The scholarship program also led to unexpected business opportunities that demonstrated the interconnected nature of authentic value creation. Several scholarship recipients became some of our most successful Academy graduates, and their innovations in areas like sustainable art materials, community-based music education, and culturally responsive creative entrepreneurship became new course offerings that attracted students from around the world. As you look through the telescope at the star-filled sky above, the vast expanse of possibilities seems to mirror the unlimited potential that Erica has learned to access through her commitment to authentic expression and service to others. By the end of 2021, the combined revenue from all Academy programs exceeded $3.2 million annually. But the real achievement was the thriving ecosystem of creative entrepreneurs who were building successful businesses while maintaining their artistic integrity and contributing positively to their communities. This level of success represents a fundamental transformation from Erica's street corner beginnings. But what strikes you most powerfully is how each stage of growth has been guided by the same principles of authenticity, value creation, and collaborative empowerment. The Academy phase of my journey taught me that sustainable abundance comes from building systems that serve others while expressing your unique gifts and expertise. When you create educational experiences that genuinely transform people's lives and careers, you establish yourself as a trusted authority while generating revenue that supports your continued innovation and impact. The observatory provides a perfect setting for contemplating the broader implications of everything you've learned so far. And as you absorb the peaceful night atmosphere, you can feel these principles integrating into your own understanding of how creative work can evolve into lasting enterprise. Your deeper mind is already beginning to envision how your own knowledge and experience could be shared in ways that serve others while creating multiple streams of income and influence. Erica continues, her voice carrying the gentle authority of someone who has successfully navigated this transformation. The success of the Academy also attracted attention from larger organizations and institutions that wanted to partner with Erica to expand access to creative entrepreneurship education. Harvard Business School invited me to develop a case study about creative enterprise building. The European Union commissioned a research project on the economic impact of independent artist networks, and several Fortune 500 companies began hiring Academy graduates to bring creative thinking and entrepreneurial innovation to their internal teams. These institutional recognitions represent another level of validation and opportunity, demonstrating how authentic expertise can transcend industry boundaries and create value in unexpected contexts. Each of these partnerships provided new learning opportunities while expanding the reach and impact of the principles and strategies I had developed through my own creative journey. As you prepare to continue your walk and explore the next chapter of Erica's story, you can feel the profound transformation that has taken place in your own understanding of what's possible when creativity, education, and entrepreneurship are integrated with authentic purpose and consistent action. The teaching phase of my work proved that abundance multiplies when you share your knowledge generously while building sustainable systems that support both your continued growth and the success of others. As you absorb this understanding, you naturally begin to see your own expertise as a valuable resource that can serve others while generating prosperity for yourself. The path from the observatory leads through a moonlit garden where night-blooming flowers create an atmosphere of quiet magic, and as you walk among them with Erica, her story reaches the culmination that gives this evening's journey its title. The phone call that would change everything came on a Tuesday morning in March 2022. She begins, her voice carrying a note of wonder that suggests this moment still feels somewhat surreal to her. I was in my garden studio, working on a new composition that combined traditional melodies with electronic elements, when my manager Catherine called with news that I never could have anticipated. The garden around you seems to pulse with possibility as Erica pauses beside a fountain where water catches and reflects the moonlight, creating patterns of light and shadow that seem to mirror the complexity of major life decisions. A consortium of investors led by a sustainable technology company called Harmony Ventures had been quietly following my work for over a year, and they were interested in making an acquisition offer for my entire creative enterprise: the music catalog, the academy, the community platform, the international partnerships, and all the intellectual property I had developed. The scale of this opportunity represents a quantum leap from everything that has come before, and you can feel your consciousness expanding to encompass new ideas about the value that can be created through authentic, sustained creative work. The initial conversation was surreal. Erica continues, her honesty about her emotional response making the story feel even more real and relatable. Catherine explained that they were valuing my work at $30 million, based not just on current revenue, but on the growth potential they saw in the global community and educational platform I had built. As you continue walking through the garden, the fragrance of jasmine and night-blooming cereus creates a sensory backdrop that enhances your receptivity to the deeper implications of what Erica is sharing. The investors were particularly interested in the academy and the community network because they recognized that I had created something unique, a scalable platform for creative entrepreneurship education that was producing measurable economic impact while maintaining authentic connection and collaborative values. The business rationale behind the acquisition offer reveals sophisticated understanding of how genuine value creation can attract investment at levels that transform individual success into broader economic impact. Your subconscious mind is absorbing the truth that when you build something that serves others authentically and generates sustainable value, you create assets that attract resources and opportunities far beyond what your conscious mind currently considers possible. Erica observes, her words carrying the hypnotic quality that has been building throughout your evening together. The garden path leads to a pavilion overlooking a small lake where swans glide silently across the water, their graceful movement suggesting the kind of elegant decision-making that major transitions require. The weeks that followed were an intensive process of due diligence, valuation analysis, and vision alignment. Erica continues, settling onto a bench in the pavilion where you can both enjoy the peaceful water view. Harmony Ventures wasn't just interested in acquiring my business. They wanted to understand my values, my long-term vision, and my commitment to the community I had built. This approach to acquisition demonstrates a more evolved understanding of how creative enterprises really work, recognizing that their value lies not just in assets and revenue, but in relationships, values, and ongoing innovation capacity. The lead investor, a remarkable woman named Dr. Sarah Chen, had herself built and sold several successful companies that combined social impact with sustainable profitability. She understood that my willingness to sell depended on ensuring that the academy and community would continue to serve their mission while having access to resources for much greater expansion. The alignment of values between seller and buyer represents one of the most crucial factors in any major business transition, and you can sense the care with which Erica approached this decision. We spent months developing a transition plan that would preserve everything that made my work special, while providing the infrastructure and capital needed to serve millions of creative entrepreneurs instead of thousands. A family of ducks settles on the lake for the evening, their quiet presence adding to the contemplative atmosphere as Erica shares the deeper considerations that influenced her decision. The most challenging aspect wasn't the financial analysis or the legal complexity. It was determining whether selling would honor or compromise the authentic purpose that had guided every stage of my journey from street corner to global platform. This ethical dimension of the decision reveals the integrity that has characterized all of Erica's choices, demonstrating how sustainable success requires constant alignment between actions and values. Your deeper mind is recognizing that true abundance includes the wisdom to know when to harvest your efforts and when to continue building. Erica says softly, her words seeming to address not just her own decision, but the broader question of how to navigate major opportunities with wisdom and authenticity. The pavilion provides a perfect setting for contemplating the complexity of such a significant decision, surrounded as it is by the natural beauty that has inspired so much of Erica's creative work. The turning point came when I realized that the acquisition would actually amplify my ability to serve the mission that had always driven my work, empowering creative people to build sustainable businesses around their authentic gifts while contributing positively to their communities. This realization represents a sophisticated understanding of how individual success can evolve into systemic impact, demonstrating the kind of long-term thinking that characterizes truly transformational leadership. Harmony Ventures offered to establish the Erica Foundation with an initial endowment of $5 million, dedicated to providing creative entrepreneurship education and micro-grants to underserved communities worldwide. They also committed to maintaining the Academy's community-first culture, while providing resources for translation into 12 languages and expansion into developing markets. The foundation concept demonstrates how financial success can be consciously leveraged to create lasting positive impact, extending the reach and effectiveness of work that began with authentic personal expression. In addition to the foundation, the acquisition agreement included a 5-year consulting contract that would allow me to guide the Academy's evolution while pursuing new creative projects with complete financial freedom and institutional support. As you sit together in comfortable silence, watching the swans navigate the moonlit water with effortless grace, you can feel the profound implications of this decision taking root in your own understanding of how creative work can evolve into lasting enterprise and social impact. The final decision came during a meditation session in my garden studio, Erica shares, her voice taking on the reverent tone of someone recalling a moment of deep clarity. I realized that holding on to my business out of attachment would actually limit its potential to serve the larger vision that had always guided my work. This insight represents a mature understanding of how authentic success sometimes requires releasing personal control in service of broader impact and continued growth. Your subconscious mind is absorbing the principle that genuine abundance flows most naturally when you remain aligned with your authentic purpose. While staying open to opportunities that serve that purpose at an expanded scale, Erica continues, her words carrying the gentle authority of someone who has successfully navigated this delicate balance. The acquisition was completed in September 2022, creating a new model for how creative enterprises can scale their impact while maintaining their founding values and community connections. The financial outcome exceeded even the most optimistic projections. After taxes and reinvestment in the foundation, I retained over $22 million while ensuring that the Academy and community would have resources to serve creative entrepreneurs at a global scale. These numbers represent a remarkable transformation from Erica's street corner beginnings. But what strikes you most powerfully is how each stage of growth has been guided by the same principles of authentic expression, value creation, and service to others. The acquisition phase of my journey taught me that sustainable abundance includes the wisdom to recognize when individual success can evolve into systemic impact, and the courage to make decisions that honor your deepest values while embracing opportunities for expanded service and influence. The pavilion's peaceful atmosphere provides a perfect transition into the final chapter of Erica's story, and as she continues speaking, the moonlight on the water seems to represent the ongoing flow of creativity and abundance that extends far beyond any single achievement or milestone. The months following the acquisition brought a kind of freedom I had never experienced, she begins, her voice carrying the contentment of someone who has successfully navigated a major life transition while maintaining alignment with her deepest values. For the first time since I started playing on street corners, I could pursue creative projects based purely on inspiration and impact without concern for immediate financial return. This liberation from financial pressure represents one of the most profound benefits of building sustainable wealth through authentic creative work, and you can feel this possibility expanding your own sense of what becomes available when creativity and prosperity are successfully integrated. I spent the first 6 months after the sale traveling to communities around the world where the Academy had scholarship recipients, learning from their approaches to creative entrepreneurship and understanding how the principles I had developed were being adapted to different cultural and economic contexts. The global scope of this learning journey demonstrates how success can become a platform for continued growth and expanded understanding, rather than an endpoint or final achievement. These travels revealed that creativity and entrepreneurship are truly universal human capacities, but they manifest differently depending on available resources, cultural values, and community support systems. Your deeper mind is recognizing that abundance principles work across all contexts, but their specific applications vary based on individual circumstances and environmental factors. As you begin walking again, leaving the pavilion and following a path that leads through a grove of fruit trees where the night air carries the scent of ripening apples and pears, Erica's story continues to unfold with the natural rhythm of someone who has learned to balance achievement with ongoing exploration. One of the most meaningful discoveries during this period was how many Academy graduates were using their creative businesses to address social and environmental challenges in their communities. Musicians creating therapeutic programs for trauma recovery, visual artists developing sustainable materials and production methods, writers building literacy programs, and makers creating economic opportunities in underserved areas. These applications of creative entrepreneurship demonstrate how individual success can naturally evolve into community impact when it's guided by authentic values and genuine concern for others' well-being. This gave me the inspiration for my current projects, which focus on what I call regenerative creativity, approaches to artistic expression and business building that actively contribute to environmental restoration, social healing, and community resilience. The concept of regenerative creativity represents an evolved understanding of how creative work can serve not just individual expression and financial success, but broader ecological and social flourishing. Your subconscious mind is absorbing the understanding that true abundance includes responsibility for contributing positively to the larger systems and communities that support your success, Erica observes, her words carrying the gentle authority of someone who has integrated these principles through direct experience. The path through the orchard leads to a small amphitheater built into a natural hillside where acoustic properties have been carefully designed to support intimate musical performances. This is where I now spend many of my evenings, Erica shares, her affection for this space evident in her voice. I've returned to regular live performance, but now it's integrated with education and community building in ways that honor both my artistic development and my commitment to supporting other creative entrepreneurs. The amphitheater represents a full-circle return to the live performance roots of Erica's career, but elevated and expanded through everything she has learned about building sustainable creative enterprises. These evening concerts combine original music with storytelling about creative entrepreneurship, guided meditations for abundance mindset, development, and collaborative workshops where audience members work together on their own creative projects. This innovative format demonstrates how individual artistic expression can evolve into community experience that serves multiple purposes while maintaining authentic creative integrity. The concerts are free to attend, but they generate revenue through voluntary contributions, merchandise sales, and enrollments in online programs that extend the learning and community connection beyond the live events. As you take a seat in the amphitheater, the acoustic design creates an intimate atmosphere where even quiet conversation feels rich and resonant, and you can imagine how powerful Erica's performances must be in this carefully crafted environment. The Foundation has also launched several initiatives that combine creative education with environmental restoration, music programs and reforestation projects, visual arts workshops using sustainable materials, and maker spaces that develop solutions to local environmental challenges. These projects demonstrate how financial success can be consciously directed toward creating positive impact that extends far beyond the original creative work that generated the wealth. Your deeper mind is integrating the understanding that sustainable abundance naturally includes regenerative impact, creating value that serves not just your immediate needs and desires, but the long-term health and prosperity of the communities and ecosystems that support all life. The night sky above the amphitheater is particularly clear, with stars visible in patterns that seem to suggest infinite possibility and connection, and Erica's story continues to weave its hypnotic spell of empowerment and inspiration. I'm currently working on a new album that will be recorded entirely using renewable energy and sustainable production methods, with all proceeds supporting creative entrepreneurship programs in climate-vulnerable communities around the world. This project represents the integration of all the elements that have characterized Erica's journey: authentic artistic expression, innovative business thinking, technological integration, community empowerment, and environmental responsibility. The album will also include compositions created through collaborative sessions with musicians from 12 different countries, demonstrating how technology can support authentic artistic connection across geographical and cultural boundaries. The collaborative aspect of this new work demonstrates how success can become a platform for facilitating others' creative expression and professional development, creating opportunities that extend far beyond individual achievement. Each track will be paired with educational content that shares the creative and business strategies used by the collaborating musicians, creating learning opportunities that serve the global community of creative entrepreneurs. As you sit together in the amphitheater, surrounded by the peaceful night atmosphere and the sense of unlimited creative possibility that Erica's story has evoked, you can feel these principles integrating into your own understanding of how creative work can evolve into lasting enterprise and positive impact. Your subconscious mind is already beginning to envision how your own creative gifts might develop into sustainable businesses that serve both your personal fulfillment and the greater good of your community and the world. The amphitheater's natural acoustics seem to amplify not just sound, but the deeper resonance of Erica's teaching, creating an environment where transformation feels both natural and inevitable. The most important lesson I've learned throughout this entire journey is that authentic abundance isn't about accumulating wealth or achieving recognition. It's about developing your unique gifts in service of something larger than yourself, while building sustainable systems that support both your continued growth and the flourishing of others. This integration of individual development with collective benefit represents the highest expression of creative entrepreneurship, demonstrating how personal success and social impact can be mutually reinforcing rather than competing priorities. As you absorb this understanding, you begin to naturally make choices that honor your authentic creative vision while contributing to the healing and empowerment of the world around you, knowing that this alignment is the source of the most sustainable and fulfilling abundance. The amphitheater provides a perfect setting for the gentle transition from story into deep rest, and as Erica's narrative reaches its natural conclusion, the peaceful night atmosphere seems to embrace you both in a cocoon of tranquility and possibility. As we prepare to complete our evening walk together, Erica says softly, her voice taking on the soothing quality of someone guiding a meditation, "I want you to feel how naturally all of these principles and possibilities are already integrating into your own understanding of what's possible for your creative and financial future." The stars overhead seem to pulse with gentle light, creating a canopy of infinite possibility that mirrors the expanded sense of potential that has been building throughout your time together. Your subconscious mind has been absorbing every element of this journey, not just as information about my experience, but as a template for your own creative and entrepreneurial evolution. As you allow yourself to relax more deeply, you can feel these insights settling into the deeper levels of your awareness, where they will continue to guide and inspire your choices long after this evening's conversation. A gentle breeze moves through the amphitheater, carrying the scents of night-blooming flowers and the sound of distant water flowing toward its destination, creating a sensory backdrop that enhances your natural progression toward peaceful sleep. Let yourself sink more comfortably into your seat, feeling the support of the earth beneath you and the vast expanse of possibility above you, knowing that you are held in a universe that conspires to support the authentic expression of your unique gifts and talents. The combination of Erica's soothing voice and the peaceful environment creates a natural state of relaxed receptivity where positive suggestions can take root and flourish in your subconscious mind. As your breathing becomes slower and deeper, allow yourself to feel the truth that creativity and abundance are not separate pursuits, but different expressions of the same fundamental life force that flows through you at every moment, seeking outlets for authentic expression and generous service. The amphitheater's acoustic properties seem to enhance not just the sound of Erica's words, but their emotional and energetic impact, creating an experience of being surrounded by supportive vibration and encouraging presence. Your creative gifts are already perfect and complete, waiting only for your willingness to share them with confidence and consistency, knowing that the universe has infinite resources available to support work that serves both your highest good and the well-being of others. As you feel your body naturally relaxing more deeply, releasing any tension or resistance that might have been holding you back from fully embracing your creative and financial potential, Erica's guidance continues to weave a gentle spell of empowerment and peace. Every breath you take is breathing in possibility and breathing out limitation, allowing your natural capacity for abundance to expand and flow freely through every area of your life, creating opportunities and connections that serve your authentic vision while contributing to the greater good. The night sounds around you, the gentle rustle of leaves, the distant call of an owl, the soft movement of water, create a natural symphony that seems to carry the vibration of abundance and creativity, helping these qualities take root more deeply in your consciousness. As you continue to relax, you can feel your own creative empire beginning to take shape in your imagination, not as something you need to struggle to create, but as the natural expression of your unique gifts being shared with the world through sustainable, prosperous channels that honor both your artistic integrity and your financial well-being. The moonlight creates patterns of light and shadow that seem to dance with the rhythm of your breathing, and Erica's voice blends with these natural elements to create an experience of being supported by the entire cosmos in your creative and entrepreneurial journey. Your subconscious mind is already beginning to attract the people, opportunities, and resources that will support your vision, drawing them to you through the magnetic power of authentic creative expression combined with genuine desire to serve others. As you feel yourself naturally drifting toward sleep, the boundary between Erica's story and your own future begins to blur, creating a space where her achievements feel not like distant goals, but like natural possibilities that are already beginning to manifest in your life. Sleep now, knowing that every moment of rest is allowing these principles to integrate more deeply into your being, programming your subconscious mind for creative and financial success that flows naturally from your authentic gifts and generous heart. The amphitheater fades into peaceful darkness as your consciousness gently transitions towards sleep, carrying with it the vibration of unlimited creative and financial possibility that will continue to guide and inspire your choices throughout the days and weeks ahead. Dream of your own creative empire. Feel it building naturally and sustainably. Know that abundance is your birthright and creativity is your gift to the world, and allow these truths to guide you into the most peaceful and prosperous sleep of your life. In the gentle embrace of night, surrounded by the continuing flow of the river and the eternal presence of the stars, you drift into sleep, carrying the seeds of transformation that will continue to grow and flourish, creating the creative and financial abundance that is your natural inheritance as a being of infinite possibility and authentic expression.